This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
Well, we love having members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on this show, and we are joined by another one right now. His name is Alex Lifeson of Rush. His most recent musical project, Envy of None, whose second album, Stygian Waves, has come out. And in Envy of None, the band includes Alex, as well as Andy Curran, Alfio, Anna Bellini, and Maya Wynn. All the info, envyofnone.com. Alex, great to have you on the show again. I'm not sure you're going to remember this, but I'm going to try anyway. The last time we were together, it was a long time ago at the Bowery Ballroom here in New York City after a raucous show from Brody Dalle and her band Spinneret.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Meg Simsick was there.
Yes.
That was a really fun night. To put it a good way, it was a really fun night, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
And we had a good time that night.
We did. We were all in the dressing room, I think, afterwards.
Yeah, we were all upstairs in that tiny dressing room of the Bowery Ballroom. But tell me first about the band name, Envy of None, because the way my mind works, and perhaps the way you and Geddy's mind works too, it sounded sort of humorous. Or am I missing something here?
Well, yeah, you would think Envy of None. It's kind of like a humbling name. Originally, it came from David Steinberg, who played on the first album and this album, actually, he played drums. And he's also our lawyer. So he had made the suggestion for the name, and it's taken from a poem by Ovid, who was a Roman philosopher. And he uses the term envy of none. And that's where Stygian Waves comes from as well. The Stygian Waves are the turbulent waters at the gates of hell when you're heading down the river Styx.
Wow.
So hopefully, you can navigate those waters to calmer waters and avoid that entrance, from mythology. But so it's, both terms are connected to that.
Got it. How did you meet these other people in the band, and how did that meeting actually turn into 2 albums of new music now?
Andy was in a band called Coney Hatch, and he had success here in Canada. When he was done with the band, he came and worked at our management office, and he was there for 12 years as a PA, not PR, as a record company rep. So Andy was on the road with us quite a bit. I've known Andy probably for 40 years. And then Alf, I knew of Alf. I'd never met him before the project. He's a producer, engineer, worked out of a studio that we worked in often. And then there's Maya. I didn't know anything about Maya until Andy met with her. Andy was a guest judge on a talent contest, and Maya was one of the contestants, and Andy told her to work with other people, learn what you can, and develop your skill that way. And she said, well, I googled you and I know your past, why don't we work together? And he kind of laughed and said, oh, well, okay, that's ballsy, but yeah, okay, we'll try that. And he sent her a song, and it was a song that I worked on with Andy. He sent it to me asking if I could just put some guitars on. This was before Envy of None. Put some guitars on just so that he has an idea of how the song is developing. And I did a very scratch guitar, nothing fancy. He sent it to her. She did a vocal, sent it back, and I was just blown away. I told Andy, erase everything that I did. I'm going to redo all the guitars. We're going to work with her. This could be a major project. And that's really how it all started. We started working on the second record on Stygian Waves, probably 2 days after we released the first record.
Wow.
We were really caught up in the flow of it. And we could see that we were developing, maturing, especially Maya. Her vocals on this record are just mind-blowing, as her lyrics are as well. So it really became a much more of a band unit after that first record, and I love it. It's just a great, personally, it's a great opportunity for me to really expand the way I hear guitar and the way I want to play guitar and this kind of music, which is very unrush-like. It's, well, it's similar in terms of cinematic quality, but This is much more ethereal and ambient, and it's so much fun to play and listen to.
And to that point, from my perspective as well, musically, Envy of None sounds nothing like Rush, but and I notice in the three songs I've heard from the new album, those songs being Not Dead Yet, Under the Stars, and the title track Stygian Waves, your guitar is not really way out in front on the songs. It's more of a layering and texturing, and you've done that with Rush, obviously, but it seems like here you just really wanted to sort of be a part of this ensemble rather than the sole focus, big, here comes the big, huge guitar solo on the spotlight kind of thing.
You're absolutely right. And that's exactly the way I feel and felt about it. The first record, 70% of the guitar stuff on that record doesn't sound like guitar. It sounds like a keyboard or some other weird instrument. And I intentionally did that because I wanted to experiment with what I could do with the guitar, manipulate it in such a way that that's not traditional guitar like. On Stygian Waves, I let that go a little bit. There's a little more of traditional guitar. I soloed. I mean, I've been staying away from soloing. I don't know why, because I love it and I'm half decent at it. So why would I intentionally do that? Because I didn't want to be show offy. I didn't want to be that guy from Rush, doing this. I wanted to be part of an ensemble. I wanted to be part of a group of musicians that I respected and work together. I didn't want to be the big shot in the band. It's not my nature to be that way. So this was immensely satisfying for me. And I got to stretch out a little bit on the second record without feeling like I was stepping on anything or anybody.
And it's interesting you were speaking of Rush songs. These songs from Envy of None, they're all under 5 minutes. Whereas Rush songs may not be under 5 minutes.
Very few. Very few.
And, when I saw the title of the song I want to play right now, I immediately thought of Monty Python. That's just how my mind works. But tell us about the song Not Dead Yet.
So Not Dead Yet. I mean, conceptually, it's really about, so long as you're breathing, you got stuff to do and stuff to accomplish. And that's really the gist of it. It was, Maya's 27 years old. She's a long way from being dead. So hopefully, but for us, we're a little more advanced in our years. So it was really about getting up and doing things and not letting age and time wear you down and take the enthusiasm for living life. It was a really different approach. It's quite a funky song. It was structured that way, and then the outro has this little bit of a James Bond kind of character to it. I think the song would be a perfect James Bond for the next James Bond movie. Be the perfect song for that.
Okay, Amazon Prime, if you're listening, here we go.
Yes, if you're listening, because the title Not Dead Yet. Wow, is that a Bond movie or
that
what?
is a Bond movie right there, and we're going to play that song right now.
Okay.
And that's Not Dead Yet here on Q104.3's Out of the Box. That's from Envy of None from their new album, Stygian Waves. Alex Lifeson of the band with us. Alex, when I listen to these songs, maybe it's just the fan in me, but I think they really lend themselves, to a live performance. Have you and the band thought of doing a one-off show here or there? Toronto, maybe here in New York City? Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Now that we have two albums, we have a plethora of material, and for us to do a small theater with a nice subtle light show, I think with this amount of material could be an evening of really beautiful music, very cinematic and atmospheric. It could be great.
Yeah, totally. Like a cool theater, right? Like,
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely. It would be awesome. We did a little bit of investigating to see how possible it would be to do that. What the numbers look like, and unfortunately, it came back. We would lose thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So unless the album, takes off and there's interest and promoter interest, it's hard to say right now. Things are very different. I'm not at this stage in my life. I'm not ready to get in a van and drive around to gigs. I did that.
Yeah,
I did that
come on now.
years ago. But so I don't want to start all over again. But if there was an opportunity for us to do, say, a handful of shows under those conditions where we wouldn't end up having to, you know, finance the whole thing out of our pockets, then we probably would do it. I mean, we would love to do it. We already have a lineup of the musicians that we would invite to come play with it, just to do this amazing thing. I mean, I'm getting excited just talking about it. So maybe we'll get there. The album comes out on the 28th, so we'll see what the response is, and then we'll take it from there.
We'll do our best to get the word out. You know, we had Geddy on this show in 2023 for his book, My Effin' Life. And I know you joined him on stage for a couple of those book tour dates. Tell me your thoughts after you got a chance to read. I think you read like a first draft of the book, My Effin' Life. And what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, I read a first draft. You know, Ged wanted to make sure that he wanted corroboration on some of the events that he was writing about to make sure that he got them right. And he got some right, but it's funny how, you know, two people can be in the same spot and view something and have two completely different perceptions on what happened, and that was what happened. So he wanted to make sure that he got it right, and he wanted to make sure that I was fine with everything, because, you know, 80% of the book is about us. So I read it. I laughed out loud so many times. I was mesmerized by so much of it, and I cried openly about some of it. The the whole section on his parents and Holocaust survivors
Incredible.
is very, very, very powerful. The stuff that he wrote about us was hilarious. But it, you know, he also talked about the stress, some of the stresses that we went through, and some of the very difficult experiences that we went through. So, as a story of his life, it's a terrific book, and it's so well written. Daniel Richler was his ghostwriter, and Daniel's an amazing author. And together they created this beautiful story. Yeah, I loved it.
I saw the Getty's book sort of show or whatever at the Beacon Theater here in the city back in 2023, and he had Paul Rudd come out, and
Right. Yeah.
just fantastic. You know, the music press loves to fantasize about you and Geddy getting together with a new drummer. Have you ever even had a casual conversation about that with Ged?
Oh, well, yeah, of course, because we're bombarded by it all the time. After Neil passed, it didn't take more than a few minutes before we started getting, you know, emails from all kinds of drummers who wanted to audition for the band. We were like thinking that we were just going to replace somebody that we played with for 40 years who wrote all the lyrics for our music. I don't know what some of these people were thinking. So yeah, we've had the conversation because it's sort of, we can't avoid it. But honestly, Geddy's my best friend. I talk to him. I must talk to him every day. We get together for dinner. We play tennis. We're doing all this charity work together. He's my best bud. So yeah, I go over there. We both play. You know, he plays bass. I play guitar. Yeah, we'll play a little bit. I go over there ostensibly to play with them, and we end up just sitting and drinking coffee and laughing the whole day. So it's not just rush, 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 rush. You know, I have a deep, loving relationship with this man, and it's not all about, you know, creating something that we did from the past. You never know what life brings you. Right now, I'm super happy doing what I'm doing. I'm engaged with a lot of musical stuff. I love being a musician. I love playing guitar. I love playing guitar so much. It's not just a vehicle for making a living. It's me. It's what I'm. It's at the core of my essence. So it doesn't have to be about Rush or Envy of None. I mean, I do what I do when it comes to it. I love you, baby. I'm just talking to my guitar there.
His name is Alex Lifeson. And Alex, I want to play the title track to the new album from Envy of None, Stygian Waves. You touched on it before, a little bit before. Tell me about this title again, and tell us about this song.
It was the last track that we worked on, and we intended to do it as an instrumental. actually in the beginning was probably going to have lyrics and vocals, but we decided to just keep it pretty instrumental. And then Maya wanted to really let go with her voice a little bit and have some fun with it. So Maya spent a month in India chaperoning a group of students, and it was really a powerful visit for her. So she came back with some sensibilities about that trip, and we started to create this song that started as kind of like almost like an EDM kind of track, dancey and musically like that. And then when we started developing it, then more of the flavor came in, and we made it. There are influences that are Middle Eastern and Indian, and it's heavy at points. And I got to play oud on it, which I'd never played an oud before, so I kind of had to learn how to play the thing. And it was really a fascinating instrument to play, and so core to the Middle Eastern sound. It's an instrument that's common in so many countries. And as the song developed, Maya had this sense of what she wanted to create, this really sort of open vocal thing. There are so many vocal tracks on there that don't sound like vocals, that are just sort of cool and add something to it. So it was a great expression and release for us to do the last track of the song that way.
Stygian Waves, it is the title track from the new album, From Envy of None. Stygian Waves is the song. We're going to play it right now. And Alex Lifeson of the band, thank you so much for all the music over the years. And this new music is fantastic. We're going to get the word out to the promoters. We want Envy of None in New York City and Los Angeles and Chicago and Toronto and everything. So, my friend, always great to speak with you, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's great to speak to you again, too. And you can be our manager now, too.
Okay. Envy of None on Broadway, or a residency in Vegas, something like that.
There you go. You just earned your 2%.
2%.
Take care, buddy.
Man.
See
Take
you.
care.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.